After such a dominating game, Anand was the clear favourite for the Blitz shootout.
An extraordinary decision from Dreev. He won the toss and he's chosen the black pieces, which means, okay, he has draw odds. If it's a draw, he goes through, but he has a minute disadvantage. And against Anand at this speed, my goodness, they're repeating exactly the same as in the last game.
I mean, this is insane. And to give Anand an extra minute after he just bashed your head in with the white pieces, I don't see the logic for that. I would have taken white against a guy like this. Then again, it wouldn't have mattered what color I had chosen.
And it's exactly the same. Where's Dreev going to vary?
The worst part is that he's down even more on the clock. He's spending more time to play the moves that they've already played.
It's an incredible decision. Is he going to play Rook C8 again?
Well, what does he think? He's thinking about varying. He's thinking about varying. What is this? He's down a minute.
And now he's taken on D4. Okay, this is the alternative plan. He's going to look at these weak points on B4.
They're not going to occur now. Anand taking with the knight, a very wise decision, avoiding the weaknesses.
That's a great decision. So he's making room for the knight to come to F3. Dreev playing the queen C7.
Now knight over to F3, Danny. I think white has a beautiful position. Beautiful position.
It's a very pleasant position for white to play. I like the knight on D4, and Dreev has castled on the king side, but
for the first time threatening to take on E5 possibly.
Now bishop F4. That would seem to just shore up just protect the pawn on E5. That looks good enough.
Anand giving it a long think, seconds ticking away, but he has more of an advantage now. He still has a minute advantage. He should be moving very soon to make up his mind, and now he's stopping to think about the position.
Well, I'm wondering if he's looking at taking on C6 with the bishop and then playing the bishop out to G5 just to try and exchange off.
That's another plan, but his advantage frittering away. He's going to have to keep the time advantage if he's to win this game or keep his chances. Now Anand he's thinking about this position.
353 against, I think, roughly 316. There we are.
A big surprise here, Danny. And finally, he has taken on C6.
And now, does he want to play bishop G5? He's done it. What I was worried about was maybe bishop to C5. The idea is, after this exchange, then black is left with a poor bishop on C6. So it's a very strategic way to play the position. So bishop G5, knight G5, and knight E5 isn't possible. I think, no, not rook E5, maybe queen H5.
Queen H5 looks like a powerhouse move. So
bishop G5, knight G5, bishop G5, knight G5, knight E5, I think queen H5.
That's got to be over. That's deadly. That's lethal, in fact. So he's thinking about the position now, and this strategical plan is frozen Dreev, and he doesn't know what to do. He's played the bishop back to D8.
Well, that's a strange move.
Strange is not the word for it. Bishop takes D8 and immediately forces the rook to take.
So Vichy with a very pleasant position strategically, because that knight on D4 cannot be challenged. And Dreev left with his rotten bishop on C6.
What about B4? Wow, preventing the knight from expanding. And now Dreev in a bit of trouble on the left side.
The only thing he can do is to try and get some play against the pawn on C3, but that's not going to happen. Rook coming up to E3, protecting the pawn, and looking later on to swing across to the king side.
And preparing this attack is Anand, and Anand taking his time. He still has his minute advantage on the clock, and now queen to C2 with a big threat, knight to G5, and maybe a mate on H7.
So, Anand just building up an attack and preparing to swing the rook across. H6, preventing the knight coming to G5. So now he can play the rook across, just overprotecting the pawn on E5. He's done it, and that frees up the knight on F3. Dreev moving the rook across to C8, just putting some pressure on the C pawn.
And now H4 by Anand. But
good move.
Where's the pressure? Where's the pressure? Black needs some kind of counterplay.
This is a great move. Now he's preparing. He's moved the knight back. Great. Now the rook can swing across to G3. Queen coming down to C4, but well, there was a threat on D4, but Anand solid enough on the queen side. The rook on E3 protecting everything.
The dark squares are terrible. Total control. The bishop on A6 looks like a dead piece, and now rook to G3.
Threatening queen H6, and now there's a secondary threat. Knight G4 and threatening knight takes H6.
Now a sacrifice threat, and Dreev in huge trouble.
This is a repeat performance. This is fantastic.
A bystander in this position, and now this last move, hoping to defend knight H7. Now the sacrifice has been prevented for the moment. How can Anand increase the pressure?
Well, maybe he'll swing the next rook up. What about rook on the first rank to E3 and then to F3?
Looks like a plan. He has to worry about queen F1 check. Ooh. So he's decided to move his king to H2. It wasn't that lethal, actually. Now the queen running back to C7.
It's an interesting idea, because now the queen on the same diagonal as the king. Maybe he's looking later on to play the pawn up to F6 or F5.
Now Anand with F4 cementing that. The queen swinging over, trying to get counterplay against the H pawn, the advanced H pawn. Now Anand needs a good move here, but it looks like he can just play king to h3, but that's a bit committal. That's a bit committal on Anand's part, and the time evening up quickly.
Let's see, 206, 155.
And Dreev just whipping off the moves, not bothering to think, but boom, knight e3, chasing the rook back, and now the rook back to c7, preparing to double, and f5, Anand is knocking at the king's door with this move f5, but he only has a 10-second advantage on the clock.
So f5, this is a great move. This now black under real pressure on the king side. There are always possibilities to play f6 with a lethal sacrifice and then take you on h6.
Last move, Danny, king to g1, and if not rook c3, he can discover an attack with knight takes d5. Anand, what a move, preventing black from taking it out. Bishop has gone back to b7.
Well, he sees the tactic so quickly. So if rook c3, there was knight d5, and then pawn takes knight, rook takes h3.
Ooh, knight b5, looking for
knight d6.
And he's just taking a pawn. He's just taking a pawn, and now he's coming back. Dreev can help himself to the a pawn, and he's done it. He's taken a pawn too.
I'm surprised that Anand has allowed that exchange, because now black has a bit of freedom. But it's still looking good for Anand.
And Anand with a 10-second advantage on the clock, he has to keep that advantage if he's to win. This doesn't look pure. Dreev is fighting back, and now the knight going back to d4.
I think the knight had to settle back on d4 to blockade the d pawn.
Rook a8 has been met by knight to g4, and now pawn takes pawn.
What is
pawn
this?
Takes. That looks insane.
I think maybe he had to do it because there was a threat of f6 and queen h6.
But e6 now cracking. Remember that e6 move in the last game cracked the position open, and now Anand cracking the position open with e6, and he's captured on e6 as Dreev. And
that's
has
95.
50 different moves. 95 wins the exchange at least, and he's played it.
Threatening knight g6 and knight takes d7.
And with a 10-second advantage on the clock, Anand looks as if he's about to win material.
So Dreev under 1 minute, Anand 1:13.
And Anand has helped himself to the rook, and now about to help himself to the e pawn.
Dreev has 2 pawns for the exchange, but Anand has managed to blockade the center. Dreev can't move the pawns down the board, but this is not easy. Dreev has defended all the pawns.
But now the dark squares are
great move. Great move.
That move, knight back. And now the knight hopping into the dark square.
Queen takes h4.
Queen takes h4. But
Rook
Anand
h3.
has seen it all. Rook h3. The queen back to f6.
No, but
what's this about?
He's
just
overlooked
dropped the pawn. He overlooked the pawn, and now he has to move. He has only a 5-second advantage on the clock, but gorgeous squares. But can he win with it?
Anand has controlled the center, but he's blundered the pawn. He didn't need to do that. He had total control.
What about queen takes b6? That gets a pawn back, and now he has a pass b pawn. And look at this in control. Bishop back to c8. Had to hightail it, and Anand in control again.
That's really ugly. Queen coming down to c7, and now there are possibilities to move the queen into f7. The king coming to g8 to defend that. But there's the b pawn. Push the b pawn.
Is heavy.
b5, b6.
Looks like it can score a touchdown, but Anand just tying Dreev down.
But now
h5 has been played.
But there's also
g5. Look at this, and now the rook moving over.
Now Dreev trying to set up some kind of counterattack on Anand's king, if he can try and expose Anand's king. But this pawn looks lethal. This knight on e5, dominating, just binding black completely.
But both players was only 20+ seconds on the clock.
Great move, Dreev.
But rook f3.
Wait a second.
And he's exchanged.
Anand's king can be checked all over the place. Queen g3.
But king back has been played.
h3. Anand's king exposed. Oh, this is dangerous.
Moves off.
Anand with a rook advantage, but the king completely exposed. This is dangerous.
Dreev with only 13 seconds on his clock. Dreev doesn't have a check, and the queen has moved. And now Anand's queen has come back into the sector, and it looks as if the perpetual check is not there. Anand moving up to e3, and Dreev desperate for a move, moving his queen over to h2. Dreev with only 8 seconds on his clock. Anand with 11. They both have to whip off the moves. Knight f3, queen
10 seconds, 9 seconds.
9 seconds to 5, and they're just whipping moves off. Anand needs to move.
He doesn't realize he's got so little time.
5 seconds, 4 seconds, 4 seconds each, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2, 3, 2. Anand has only 2 seconds. He has 2 seconds, 1 second, and now he asks for a queen. But
he's lost some time.
He's lost some time. What an incredible.
He's a look up the Dreev.
Made it. Oh,
Anand had lost on time, while Dreev had only 2 seconds remaining.
He didn't realize it.